Namu Amida Butsu, which for anyone who's new, that means I take refuge in, I pay homage to, I entrust myself to Amida Buddha, the Buddha of limitless light. If you're new to this topic, I suggest you check out one of my introductory videos. And I recently got a question, and I love questions, by the way. They help me so much. So thank you. Someone said, I've only ever been exposed to Shin, meaning Shin Buddhism, by going to a BCA temple, a Buddhist Churches of America temple. Can you briefly explain the difference between Shin and, say, Nichiren? So I'm going to make two videos. First of all, the difference between Jodo Shinshu and all other schools of Buddhism, and then we'll see if I make one about Nichiren or not, but I believe this will address your answer. So, first and foremost, if you've gone to a BCA temple, Buddhist Churches of America, that doesn't necessarily mean you've been introduced to Jodo Shinshu or Shin Buddhism. And I'm very sad to say that. That deserves a whole video in and of itself. So, Jodo Shinshu or Shin Buddhism was founded by a man named Shinrin Shonin. And what he taught, and sadly what isn't so taught, in BCA, at least the ones I've been to, hopefully you went to a different one or a one that really follows Shinrin. What Shinrin taught, which distinguishes Jodo Shinshu and Shin Buddhism from all other forms of Buddhism, and really from pretty much every other spiritual path on the planet, is how we get to Buddhahood. Talking about other spiritual paths, how you get to enlightenment. But we're going to focus on Buddhism. So the goal of Buddhism is to attain Buddhahood, to attain unsurpassed enlightenment, eternal freedom from all suffering, and to literally become a Buddha. Different schools. So if a school is an actual Buddhist school, meaning a school that's actually following what the Buddha taught, that's the goal. Lots of schools that call themselves Buddhist actually aren't Buddhism. They're just about reducing suffering or being a little bit more compassionate, but don't focus on the actual goal, which is the end of suffering, the end of cycling through birth, death, rebirth, over and over and over. So any true Buddhist school, that's the aim. That's the goal. And then what differentiates Jodo Shinshu from Nichiren or from other Buddhist schools is the how. But every different Buddhist school is going to disagree a little bit on the how. But what really sets Jodo Shinshu apart is the radical recognition of Shinrin Shonin that he, and in his belief, all other human beings on the planet at this time, you have to find out for yourself if that applies to you or not, were unable to attain enlightenment on their own power, no matter how hard they strive, no matter how good they were. Shinrin Shonin recognized in himself that he was unable to attain enlightenment, and part of this on his own goodness, on his own efforts, and part of this comes from the recognition of his teacher, Honen, who was a very successful monk, and made a certain amount of progress on the path, the Buddhist path, and recognized that he couldn't. And Shinrin came to a similar, he was a monk from the age of 7. And after something like 20 years, he recognized that he'd made really, in essence, no real progress in ending suffering, in ending what the Buddha called the builder of the house of suffering, which is just a very poetic euphemism for the term ego. So Shinrin Shonin recognized that he himself, and he came to the belief that no one could end it through self-power, meaning their own efforts, their own endeavors to all the Buddhist endeavors, from meditation to cultivating virtue to good acts, that they were insufficient because of the age we were living in. So that, and so the Jodo Shinshu path is actually renouncing our own efforts to achieve enlightenment and relying on the enlightenment of Amida Buddha. And so that's a very deep topic, what it means to rely on Amida Buddha. But the essence of what differentiates Jodo Shinshu from Nichiren, and again from all other spiritual schools and all other, Buddhist schools and pretty much all other spiritual schools, is that point. That the message of Jodo Shinshu is the purpose of your life is to become a Buddha, and on your own, based on your own efforts, no matter how virtuous you are, or more likely, how virtuous you think you are, you will fail. Luckily, it doesn't end there. And the third, what my main teacher in this tradition, Paul Roberts, calls the third school, third pillar of true Shin Buddhism, is that through entrusting ourselves to Amida Buddha, we can actually succeed through relying on other power versus self-power. And that's the essence of this path. So if you'd like to know more, please ask questions, or I invite you to Paul Roberts' YouTube channel. And specifically, you can start with the first pillar of true Shin Buddhism. He points out the three pillars, which I very briefly covered in this, but it's really the second pillar, the second and third, which distinguish this school of Buddhism from all other schools. Namo Amida Bu. Wow. Shaku Josen, thank you so much for joining in live. How exciting. You're the first live comment I've ever gotten. And I was just wrapping up, but what a wonderful way to wrap up. Hey, brother. Well, I'm delighted to make contact. This is Shaku Josen, who also has a wonderful YouTube channel on Shin Buddhism. I'd invite you to take a peek at what he's sharing. And not sure if you've been here the whole time, Shaku, but this was just asking someone asked a question, what is the difference between Jodo Shinshu and, say, Nichiren Buddhism? And I just basically, instead of getting specific with Nichiren, I pointed out the difference between Jodo Shinshu and all schools of Buddhism, and that's reliance on other power. So it's that specific power being Amida Buddha or Amitabha Buddha. So wonderful to have you here live. I'm gonna do some planned live broadcasts soon, so I'll be posting about that soon. If you have any words of wisdom you'd like to add on the topic, please. I'll leave this video going for another minute if there's anything you'd like to add. So to the person who asked this, you can drop by Shaku's channel because he was a member of Soko Gakkai before he switched to Jodo Shinshu. So thanks. That's priceless, brother. So I'm going to wrap up this video, but yes. Soko, yeah. So I'm going to wrap up this video, but Shaku, if you have anything else to add, or maybe you're much more familiar. See, I'm not so familiar with Nichiren, so you could probably answer this question much better. Hopefully, you can make a video on the difference between specific differences between Jodo, or just share your experience. That would be a fantastic video. I hope you make it. I'm kind of putting you on the spot. So take care. And if you do, yeah, thank you. If you do, Shaku, make that video, please post a link. Please post a link, and then I'll put it in the comments here in this one. Delightful. Just made my day. All right, dear ones. And so please don't take my word for it. And don't take my word or Shinrin Shonen's word. So the thing is, so basically, I've done a lot of talking, but the one thing I said is what differentiates? And that is this fundamental question. Will your own efforts lead you to Buddhahood? Shinrin Shonen says no. I've come to the conclusion that for myself, no, my own efforts are going to keep me trapped in samsara. Shaku came to a similar conclusion. But Shinrin's word, my word, Shaku's my view, Shinrin's view, Shaku's, that doesn't matter. What matters is that you come to your own conclusion on this very essential topic. And so I invite you to put aside your own ideas and your own conclusions temporarily, I'm not asking you to give them up, and listen deeply to come to your own conclusion. I'm not here to convert anyone. I'm here to share the teachings of the Buddha and the teachings of Shinrin Shonen and invite people to come to their own conclusions. So thank you so much for asking. Thank you, Shaku, for dropping by and saying hello. And if you do make that video, I'd be very curious. I think you should, but who am I to say? I hope you do. I would like it. Thank you to our, again, a person who asked, to our live viewers. Thank you to Shaku for saying hello. And I wish you all a very blessed day. And I wish you time to reflect on this question. Can my own efforts, my own strivings lead me to Buddhahood? Namo Amida Butsu.